Hi, this is Ivey, the fulfillment artist, and in this video I'm going to talk about how to move forward in life without an overwhelming feeling. So an overwhelming feeling is something that so many business owners that I work with face, and that is that often when things don't go the right way, or you've got your family, you've got your health, you're managing all these things, it just gets far too much and stressful. And I can't tell you how many business owners I work with that use the same word of overwhelmed. Okay, so I thought that I'd make this video to be able to give back and so that you can, if you're watching this as a business owner or an entrepreneur, how you can move forward so that you don't have this feeling. Right? Because if you can not have this feeling and instead feeling, happy, you feel joyous, you feel organized, it's going to help you not only do better in your business and become more successful, but you're going to enjoy the journey much more as well. So the first thing is the following. Understand what makes you feel this way. So what I mean by this is you've got to understand what is it that makes you feel overwhelmed, because what will make you feel overwhelmed may be different to what makes me feel overwhelmed. Because the truth is, we all have these different factors in our lives. So right now, I want you to write down, what are some of these factors that makes you feel overwhelmed? Right, some common things that I hear are, I feel overwhelmed when I have to manage my family and my business, and I've got a late business meeting and I can't go home and it's stressful for me. Another thing is I'm overwhelmed with managing my children, having relationships with them, as well as expanding a new business. Another thing is managing all the employees and all the issues that I have at work. Another thing is, managing my health. I'm getting fat because I'm not working out and right? I mean, there's so many different things. So right now for you, I want you to pause the video and actually write down all of these factors that make you feel overwhelmed. Next, I want you to write down, how does it happen? Okay, so this is important. So let's use an example of you feel stressed at work when managers let you down because they don't follow your instructions clearly. Okay, and you just feel overwhelmed because the people that are meant to be your second hand and you need them to help are letting you down. So what may happen is you may focus on that and then you're like, oh, this is so annoying. You may say that to yourself. You say, oh, this is annoying. How could they be like this? What idiots. You feel yourself getting stressed. Maybe you use this, like that there's some certain actions. I want you to think of the triad. If you've watched my videos, you'll understand what that means. If you don't, think about the language that you use, what you focus on, and your physiology, like how do you react. And what I want you to imagine is I want you to imagine that you're going to teach someone how to react the way that you do when you get the overwhelming feeling. Now, there may be lots of factors. So for the moment, I just want you to pick one, like the most crucial one that really affects you the most. And what we're doing is we're going to elicit the behavior that you have that causes you to feel overwhelmed. So I know that this is effort on your part, but the truth is you're watching this, you want help. So I need you to pause the video again and think about, what are some of these things that I do? Do I scrunch up my face? Do I clench my hands? Do I ask myself questions like, why am I so stupid? Why am I so stupid? Like, is that what you say? Like, I really want you to work this out. Now, next, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be interrupting the pattern. So right now you have a pattern. You've got some predefined behaviors that perhaps you didn't know previously that you do. So let's say we use the same example. A manager, pisses you off at work because he doesn't listen to what you're saying. And then usually you ask yourself the question, oh my God, why did I choose this manager? Why am I such an idiot? That's what you say like previously when you get into this overwhelmed feeling. Instead, we could ask a new question of, why am I grateful for this manager? And if you ask that question, most likely you're not going to get the overwhelming feeling, because that's a good question. Why am I grateful for him? Well, I'm grateful because even though you told them the wrong instructions, there's still time for us to make this better, right? And because you're asking a more quality question, it's going to help you not feel the same emotions. Because the truth is, when you ask those types of questions that make you feel bad, you're giving this situation a certain type of meaning. Now, it's from that meaning that you're going to feel a certain way, right? So if you imagine that meaning equals your emotion. So by asking a different question, we're giving it a different meaning and we're allowing you to feel a different way. So this is really important. So right now, I want you to think of at least 2 to 3 things that you can do that can interrupt the pattern. Now, it can be silly things like waving your arms in the air like that. It can be, nodding your head 3 times or taking a deep breath. Just something that's different that interrupts the way that you used to do it. Now, next is we're going to be thinking about how can you be in more control internally. Now, this is a really important point because most business owners that I work with like to be in control. That's why they're in their own business. But when they're in control, there's different types of control. Okay, and I teach this in some of my seminars, but I'll share it with you now. When we look into control, we've got internal control and external control. For a lot of business owners, they focus on external control. By this, they're controlling factors that they can't control. It's their managers, the sales. They want to control all these things, but they don't actually they can influence it, but they're not in control of it, which makes it difficult for them because they're going to get stressed if their expectations aren't met, but they don't really have anything to do with it. Does that make sense? It's like, we'll use something silly like the weather. It's out of your control, but if it rains and you get stressed, that's just silly because it's an external factor that you cannot control unless you move to a different country. Does that make sense? So we have to move to internal control. So we have to think about in our lives, how is it that we could have more internal control? What are the factors that you could control internally that wouldn't allow you to feel overwhelmed? So when thinking about this, we can think about, okay, well, what do I control? I can control my feelings in the sense of I can control my questions. Like my mind's always going to run and it's got a negativity bias. So the bias is looking into things that are wrong. So I'm going to have to ask and actually consciously ask a different question for me to take back internal control as opposed to moving to the survival instinct that I've had previously. So to do this, you've just got to think about asking better questions. And this is a really, really cool concept, but hard to implement if you don't know what you're doing. So right now, I want you to think of what is a question that I can ask that's a brilliant question that helps me to look at the good things as opposed to the bad things. And that's going to help you take much more internal control for yourself. Now, next, I wanted to give you some exercises that you can do. I mean, obviously, we've been doing some here, and that's going to help give you an understanding of how to interrupt the pattern. But I also want to do some things that can help alleviate so we won't even need the pattern. So the first thing is an exercise called morning pages. So you can look at this up. It's by a woman called Julian Cameron. Oh no, so something like that. Type in morning pages, you'll come up. And basically you write down 3 pages every morning, 3 pages exactly, no more, no less. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes and you just write down all your thoughts. For some people, this is incredibly helpful. I've given this to some business owners, they've loved it, they've carried it on for months. Others, not for them. So do it for a week. And actually, I'd say do it for 3 days. Okay, give it 3 days and see how you feel after. So that's one thing. Another thing is meditation. So meditate, for 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. Do that for a week and see if that helps. Hopefully that'll help you control your mind more because your mind may be racing and it will allow you to bring you back to your breath. You can do a really, really simple meditation. A meditation that I recommend is something called box breathing. It's where you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, and then you wait for 4 seconds. So it's just like a box and it's just like this. So that's really, really simple and it just allows you to control and focus on your breath. The last thing I recommend is the Ultimate Life Management System. So this is a system that I made to help business owners that were feeling overwhelmed and needed to get more organized and have more time in their life. I keep hearing, I want more time, I want more time, I want more time. I wish I could do more things. This is why I made the system, because I had clients that were all asking me the same thing. And instead of teaching them all individually, I made a system, gave it to them. And I've also made it open to the public. So if that's something that you're interested in and having more time, being able to move forward without an overwhelming feeling, and ultimately being able to manage your life much better and being more productive, this is something that I would really, really recommend checking out. So go to my website, type it in online, and it'll come up. And you can see if that's right for you. If you're a business owner and an entrepreneur, it will definitely be right for you. It's perfect. It's awesome. So definitely check that out. So lastly, I just wanted to say that with moving forward with this, it's important to see if you can have someone with you. When doing all these things by yourself, even though I have the exercise for you, sometimes it's difficult to stay accountable. So make sure that you find a coach, a mentor, or someone that you trust that you can work with one-on-one that's really going to help you forward with this. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like this video if you found it helpful. Comment if you have any questions, and I look forward to speaking to you next week.